Hi there, sports fans. This is Play It Right TV. I'm Kinito Henson.
And I'm Diane Castillejo. Tonight we have part two of our very special episode with Kai Sotto and his management team, and everyone is just awaiting to see whether Kai will actually be the first full-blooded, homegrown Filipino basketball player to make it to the NBA. Kinito, I have to ask you, uh, when are we gonna know? Is there a deadline for this draft, or how does it go?
Well, Diane, 270 prospective draftees of the NBA applied to try to make it to the NBA. But out of the 270 applicants, only 58 will be picked in the draft on June 23rd, and that's going to happen at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. Out of the 270, about 40 are international players with
Mm,
no U.S. collegiate experience. Kai Sotto is one of those guys. Now, remember, Kai did not make it to the NBA draft combine, which happened in the middle of May in Chicago. We talked about that in the first episode. But as his agent Joel Bell said, not the end of the world. It's better that he wasn't invited to the NBA draft combine because it appears, Diane, that at least one NBA team has already said if Kai Soto stays in the draft, he will be drafted by that team. What team that is, we don't know. And Joel
wow.
Bell is not exactly telling us.
That's super exciting. I can imagine how he's feeling, his family's feeling. They've sacrificed a lot, right, for his career. So let's hope that he does make it. Kinito, what does let's say he gets drafted? Like, what would be like an entry level salary, potential salary for Kai?
Okay, Diane, what I did was, in anticipation of that question, I looked over the salaries of the rookies that played in the NBA this season. And the last draft pick of the first round of this season got a first year salary of $1.6 million. And that translates
Wow.
to, wow, close to 80 million pesos a year. And that's what Kai Soto is going to get if he's drafted in the first round, at the very least. So he could go higher. The salary of every player in an NBA team also depends on the team's salary cap. So the
Right.
team has to manage all the salaries of those players, and they have to be within the cap. If they're over the cap, then they have to pay what they call a luxury tax to the NBA to make up for that override of the salary cap. But so, in answer to your question, it is no lower than about 80 million pesos a year for Kai Sotto if he's drafted in the first round. And we're hoping. Now, the international players with no U.S. college experience have until June 13 to decide whether they stay in the draft or they withdraw. And Kai Soto has that option to withdraw. He is now undergoing tryouts. He's been invited to workout camps by 12 NBA teams at the very least.
That's a
And
lot.
he's
All
going to
in
gauge
all
his
in New York or iba-ibang place.
iba-iba,
He has
Dayan,
to go
iba-iba.
everywhere. So he has to go
Iba-iba.
everywhere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the word also is that towards the last portion of the NBL season, when Kai was playing for the Adelaide 36ers, he blossomed. He had a
Wow,
21-point
that's so
game,
exciting.
and a lot of scouts' eyes opened up, and they said, "Wow, this guy could be the real thing." And you don't find too many players who are 7'3" with the skills
That's
that
true.
he
That's true.
has. And
Yeah.
talking to Joel Bell, talking to all the people around him, I asked the question: is he going to be another Joe Chi of China or a Wang Zhiji who didn't last very long in the NBA? And they're saying you can't find a 7'3" player with the skills of a Kai Soto. This guy is a diamond. Diamonds are rare, and so is Kai Soto. That's coming from Joel Bell himself.
A
And
diamond from the Philippines that
imagine
playing in
that.
the NBA. And I
Wow.
mean, to add to that, his work ethic, his determination, family support, and a whole country behind him cheering, praying that he makes it to the NBA, di ba? Can you imagine what that will do to all Filipino fans? I mean, ngayon lang nga, you see every time there's an NBA game, it's like everyone's tuning in. It's gonna become even more watched dito sa Philippines. All right,
Well,
so
he's
let's.
going to be a symbol of inspiration and excellence in the end. Let's not forget also to mention to our viewers that if Kai Sotto does well in the NBA or wherever he chooses to play, let's not forget 2023 FIBA World Cup. Kai
Mm.
Sotto will be playing for the Philippines, and that will be an amazing development. If he plays in the NBA, all that experience is going to bring to the Philippine side during the World Cup.
Yeah. All right. So let's listen to Kai and his management, part two of our episode with Kai Sotto.
Uh-oh.
Well, I want to ask this question to Jeremiah. You've seen Kai very early in his basketball journey with the Skill Factory. And now that he's back from Australia and stints in international competitions, you've mentioned that he's changed physically, he's changed mentally. My question is, would you have liked to have gotten Kai earlier? Now, this is a hypothetical question, but if you had gotten Kai much earlier than you did, do you think he would have matured and physically outgrew himself at this age right now at 20 years old?
Yes and no. We can't change just your body, right? Like, so I can't tell you when you're gonna hit puberty and when your muscles are gonna come in, and there's some things we cannot change. I can't tell you when you're gonna hit a great growth spurt. However, I think for a lot of international players, it does benefit them to get to the U.S. a little bit earlier, just to experience the speed of the game, the athleticism, kind of understand the physicality, because it is different. And so if you're able to get players, kind of in their early high school age, so 15, 16, I think kind of they're able to catch up and then show what they're able to do while they're here. Now, I don't think it was too late for Kai by any means. He's done great and been on a great pathway. But so yeah, you can't change the biomechanics or anything like that. But definitely love to have players over a little bit earlier. But it hasn't hindered him at all.
I want to segue that question over to Patty. Patty, we know about the Kaiju Academy. We know that you're reaching out to middle school and high school players. Getting players at a young age, getting them to learn the fundamentals and the basics of basketball. How important is that? And tell us about the progress of the Kaiju Academy and the Spooky New.
Yeah, well, this was actually one of Kai's dreams from the very beginning. He always stated he wanted to give back in some way for what actually had been given to him. So we said, you focus on basketball and we're going to focus on building the legacy. And it really was a concept that was developed out of his brand that focused not just on the skill set. In today's world, there's so much emphasis on mental health, especially much time balancing. And so in building there's three things that cover that. It's the skill set, right? You obviously have to enjoy what you're doing versus playing, and do you have the confidence? Kai talked clinic obviously kicked it off last year at a different location. Not only have had camps, but had a lot of training and memberships that have come in. We're excited to announce we're expanding to Canada. The first big weekend in Canada is the end of May over Memorial Day weekend. We actually have a community camp that is going on in Evansville on Wednesday, which are children that actually are foster kids. So they have no parents and they have not had such a good upbringing. And we're very excited to touch them as well. We then have Indianapolis, and we're excited to announce, which I don't know that I don't know that I should be saying this now, or that's a Jude call here, but let's just say we have plans for coming to the Philippines in August with Kaiju.
Nice.
So that is
Exciting.
in the works,
Okay.
and there's been a lot of phone calls and conversations, and we're very hopeful that where Kai will be at that point in time, that he'll be able to be there as well. So we're very excited. Again, if you go and follow and look at the Instagram as well as the Facebook, you know, we're putting more and more videos together. Tay will be coming over in August as well, to really watch him train. Very similar to what Kai was talking about with Jeremiah. You know, you can't just have a skill set. His height is great, his skill set is great, but quite honestly, 90% of the game is mental. You've got to be happy in what you're doing, and you have to be confident. And you know, you're going to have good days and bad. You're going to have great games and bad games. And I remember Joel picking up the phone one time in Australia. Kai had, I think, shot like 0 of 7 that day, and there were some other things, but he had put it up and he had tried. But his defense was off the chain. And I remember Joel calling Kai and saying, "Oh my God, what an amazing game." And I think sort of you're kind of like, amazing. Like, I was 0 for 7, and I don't really know the numbers, but he was like, "No, you have no idea. That right there is so much more impressive to a team, because you didn't have a good offense game, right? But you didn't give up. You actually dug in and you didn't quit. And you continued to contribute to the team." That's what teams want to see. They want to know, are they going to have a player that just gets mad and walks off the court or gets down on themselves and can't finish? Or do they have a player that they're going to hire that is there from beginning to end, whether they have a good game or a bad game? That's the piece that's so important.
And actually, I'd like to mention, I got to interview Kai about probably 4 or 5 years ago when he was still in Ateneo High School. And that's what I noticed with him, his maturity, even at a young age, and his ability to see things in the picture, long-term mindset. Speaking of which, and we're talking about mental fortitude, preparation. Kai, how are you preparing for the workouts that are coming up? Are you watching tape now? Are you doing research? Tell us about your prep work in detail.
As I said, Jeremiah has been helping me prepare, and I've been working out almost every day, and working out twice a day, and just on the mental side, Jeremiah has been helping me, and you know, he just gives me the confidence that, you know, when you prepare well, you're gonna do well. So in my workouts, he really pushes me on the court and on the weight room as well. So I think I'm confident with what I'm doing right now with the path I chose, and this upcoming weeks will be tough, but it will be exciting as well. So yeah, I'm just gonna continue on the preparing, and excited for what's to come.
Is there any player that you're modeling your journey after?
Not really a player. I mean, I'm trying my best to learn from everybody. So, I mean, there's a lot of different journeys, different paths taken, and a lot of successful NBA players. And I'm just trying to do my best to learn from everybody, to learn the pros and cons. And I mean, if I think learning is free for me, I think. So that's what I try to do every time, and I think it's good information.
Jeremiah,
Sorry.
I think you had something to say.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you hit our plan right on the head. So this week, we've been working on just Kai as a whole, right? This week, we're actually going to transition into what he's going to see at these team workouts specifically. And so we know his first workout, we know a conditioning drill that they do every time that every player is in there. We know the format of their workout. And so we're going to start getting into that a little bit this week with Kai. Don't want to overwhelm him. Don't want to put too much pressure on each little drill either, but just he will know what he's walking into. So that's a part of this week. So I'm glad you asked that question.
We want to throw this question out to Joel. Joel, there's a temptation, of course, to compare Kai with different NBA players. But I sort of want to ask you this question about Wang Zhizhi and Zhou Qi. Now, they are 7-footers. They made it to the NBA. They didn't enjoy long NBA careers. Now, what makes Kai different from both those players that gives you the confidence that he will embark on a long and enjoyable NBA career?
Well, first off, he's a lot better looking. Okay, that's the first thing. Okay, but secondly, I think his basketball IQ. What the average person doesn't realize about Kai is he's an unbelievable passer. And when you say someone's an unbelievable passer, it's not only the passes you make, it's the passes you don't make. And that doesn't necessarily mean a pass that leads to a turnover. It means passing to the wrong guy in the wrong place. You can run your offense through Kai. And that is not something you can say a lot about a lot of front court players in professional basketball. He's got an unbelievable basketball IQ. Forget the skills, and he's actually a very good athlete, okay? You can run your offense through him, and he will make the right decisions that will not only help your team score, but not help the other team. And let me ask you a question, Juanito. Okay, you're a knowledgeable basketball guy. I've done this kind of work here because I'm basically a geek and I have no life. So I do all this statistical work. What is the number one statistic that has the most importance on whether a team wins or loses the game, other than obviously points scored? But I'm talking about an individual statistic. What do you think that is? What statistic has the most bearing on whether a team wins or loses games?
I like assists because I feel that an assist can give you a high percentage field goal percentage. And, it's a key to making you play as a team.
Great answer, completely wrong, but a great answer nonetheless. Okay?
All right.
So not only a great answer, it really is, but at the same time, it's a really smart answer. It's completely the opposite. The answer is turnovers.
Okay.
Because
Oh.
turnovers lead to not only your team losing a chance to score, but giving the other team usually a higher percentage of scoring than they normally would have.
Okay.
And because Kai is a dependable person to pass the ball, and remember I said, not only make the right pass, but not make the wrong pass. That's just as important, okay? He's going to be incredibly valuable to an NBA team winning because he can do that. And there's very, 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 very few players his age, his size, his position that you can say, we trust to make those decisions. So it's really that, as good as his little left hand or his right hand flip shot is, or his 3-point shot, and that's all great, okay? It's all good. The single thing that makes him different than every other player is what's between his ears. It's his basketball IQ.
Can I add something to that? Just because Zhou Qi actually came to the U.S. to Atlanta to train when he was 16. And so we got to see him at a very young age and for a few summers. And you see him, and similar to Kai, you're like, wow, super long, really skilled. This kid could be pretty good. However, very quickly, we changed his name from Zhou Qi to Zhou Cheater because he would cheat. So if you ask him to run it down and back, he would stop before he got to the line and turn around and come back. If you asked him to, do a defensive slide, he'd do a half one. And so, there's a different approach to Kai. Kai is about getting better and he takes things seriously. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the difference. Like you can see that in him and who he is, and on the court, off the court, he's going to be successful. So that to me was a really neat kind of point that I can see a big difference between him and Joe.
I think we Filipinos are really nice.
That was a great answer. No one gets that question right. Nobody ever gets that question right. It's true. I've geeked out the statistics. It's true, but your answer was pretty good though.
Thanks a
Because
lot.
most people say like, shooting percentage or something like that. Your answer was pretty good.
Okay. Now back to Kai. Kai, the NBA playoffs this season are showing a high level of physicality. I mean, guys are being thrown on the floor, balls are getting thrown on the bodies of players. Players are battling to make it to the top. How ready are you to cope with this physicality in the NBA?
I mean, there's a lot of work that has to be done for my physique, my body. I have to get stronger. As I mean, it's pretty obvious when you look at me. I have to get stronger, faster. But on the mental side, I think growing up in the streets of Las Piñas in the Philippines, growing up playing in the Philippines, physicality is normal.
Right.
I mean, for a kid playing against construction workers, tricycle drivers, I think that really helped me be prepared mentally. Growing up, my career in basketball, I was always one of the youngest guys, and I was always playing with older players. So I think that really helped me on the mental side. That that I'm pretty prepared, and I know what to expect. But on the physical side, I have a lot to continue to work on, and I'm not stopping. So I think I'll just improve over time.
Speaking of physicality, because we're at it, you mentioned that you looked up to Kristaps Porzingis, but now that you've grown after playing in the NBL, do you picture yourself still more like a Porzingis or Nowitzki, or more of an Embiid or Giannis?
Right now I'm looking at few players, Giannis and Nikola Jokic. I think those two guys, if I try to learn from them and get the combination of both, I think that will really help me as a player. And just the aggressiveness of Giannis, and also the basketball IQ of Jokic, how he plays the basketball, the right way. I think that's the biggest advantage.
Okay, I have to ask this question. How will you encourage young Filipino basketball players dreaming to be in your shoes, dreaming that someday they will follow in your footsteps?
I would say it all starts from a dream, from a goal, setting a goal. In the Philippines, there's a saying, "Libre lang mangarap." It's free to dream. So when I heard about that, I jumped big. My dad played in the PBA. I said, I want to play in the NBA, and I think my advice to them is, what I have to say to them is, I started at the same spot. I was playing in the streets when I was young, and started pretty young, and so I have to say, just keep on working hard and just enjoy the process. And one thing that's very important that I always tell myself is to not be afraid to fail. I think sometimes in my career, I'm a little worried, I'm a little afraid to fail, and that leads me to not trying. So I think the biggest advice is to keep on trying. It's okay to fail, it's part of the journey. But just the fact that you tried and you did your best, that will help you get better as a person inside.
Kai, you seem like a learner for life, and we've seen that all throughout this interview. And also, Patty's mentioned that it's your decision to enter the draft this year. So I know there are a lot of decisions to be made before June 13. Is it more important for you to get picked in the draft, or that you get to go to a team that you feel can really develop you and stay long-term with?
For me, I'm just more focused on today and the next day. I haven't really thought of the draft yet. I'm just still focused on, what's to come tomorrow, and just giving my best today to improve and develop. And I think I believe in God, and I believe that if I just believe in myself and I put the work in, I believe that he will put me in the right place and at the right time. So it's just fate, and just for me, I just have to keep my focus and keep on working.
But if you had the choice, which teams would you pick to go to?
If I had the choice, I mean, teams, I really can't tell because I haven't been to an NBA team before, so I don't know what's the environment like, how's the team like. But I mean, I think for me, any team you put me in, I would adjust and I would do my best to fit well. So
Pretty safe.
That's a good answer. That's a good answer. But Joel, I need to ask, when Kai makes it to the NBA, what will happen to the last year of his contract with Adelaide in the NBL?
He has an escape.
Okay.
He can leave whenever he wants.
Okay.
Okay, so that means the NBA team will pay off the last year of his contract?
Well, I'm not going to get into the specifics, but he can leave whenever he wants.
Okay.
But if Kai isn't drafted, will he still actively pursue a roster spot as an undrafted player? I mean, can we get a look at a little bit about the other routes?
Impossible to say right now. You're talking 2 months in the future, and we haven't had any visits yet. I do like Quinito when he said when's Kai in the NBA, not if Kai's in the NBA.
I made a point of that.
I caught that, and that's right. You nailed it. It's when, not if. I don't want to make any predictions or anything except to say Kai will be in the NBA. We'll make a decision on June 13th when we have more information. You can't make a good decision unless you make an informed decision.
Okay, I also have to ask this question to Patty. Patty, beyond the NBA, there's the goal of playing for Gilas in the 2023 FIBA World Cup. And the whole Philippines is excited with that event coming up. How will that factor in the equation of Kai's future plans in basketball?
Well, Kai is obviously always going to make the Philippines a priority. I mean, that's his home country. So we are constantly working with, Joel and, the team to make sure that we can, make the schedules work if possible. So that will always be a priority. And from our perspective and his perspective, I mean, he will play in the World Cup. So usually there's a lot of NBA players playing in the World Cup, and it's a time period that usually is accepted. Not necessarily the games leading up to, but the World Cup is usually one, and especially with it being in the Philippines. I can assure you that Joel will be working with the team that he's playing with to definitely make sure that occurs. So we always have constant conversation with the SVP, Coach Chot, to make sure that Kai can support the national team any and all times that he can.
Well, one last question
go ahead.
for you. Sorry. One last question for you, Patty. You talked about mental wellness and how important that is in Kai's maturity. He calls you Tita Patty. You've embraced him as your son. He's part of your family. You're part of his family. How important is that relationship in bringing up a talented player like Kai, who's 20 years old, and onwards towards his NBA journey?
Well, I mean, I'm just very blessed. I mean, it's not just me, it's also Tita Chow. We're just, to us, this may not be what the basketball gods want to hear, but even though we were in this profession and we have worked with amazing legends in the business, Kai always was a priority of us first as a person, right? I mean, we want to know what Kai's dreams are as a man. We want to know what Kai's dreams are in the future. And obviously that dream is basketball. But we also, as managers, but also as titas, want to make sure that he's protected, right? We're moms. You know, Tita Chow is a mother. We've raised children. I've raised children. And Filipinas are about family. And so for us, it's always been about the family. It's always been about having the right inner circle around him. You know, Jeremiah is there for a reason. Joel is there for a reason. We don't allow anybody into the circle if we don't feel that it's in the best interest of Kai and Kai's family, which is what's very important to him. So to us, it's not just about Kai as a basketball player. Quite honestly, it's about Kai as a man. And it's about his family. This for us is all about family. It's really not about basketball. And it's making sure that he's happy and that he's healthy and he remains healthy and he actually enjoys his job. I mean, that is important. He's gotta love going onto the court and playing and really love where he is mentally and physically. So I'm honored that he calls me Tita Patty. But it's not just Tita Patty, it's Tita Chow. And we will always be there for him. Regardless of basketball, we will always be there for him and his family.
Guy, big moment coming up for you. I mean, you've dreamed about this all your life. Who do you still keep in touch with people back home here in the Philippines with your former coaches, former teammates? Who are the first three people that you talk to? I mean, when you leave the team workout outside your circle there in the United States, and do you get strength from people here back home?
Yes, of course. It's one of the things that I never forget is my family, and I have a big family, and most of my family are back home. So I really miss them. But this sacrifices, the sacrifices I have to make to achieve my dreams, and everybody understands. And my mom and two of my siblings, my younger sister, my younger brother is still there. They're planning to come here to Atlanta, and I just miss them so much because when I was in Australia, I wasn't with them as well. But anywhere they are, they always give me strength, and they're the ones who they're my why. They're what they are the reason why I play basketball, and they're why I work hard every day, and I do this all for them.
It seems like you're super focused on your goal. Does this mean that everything is on hold for now? I mean, everything else except for basketball.
I'm sorry, say it again.
Does this mean, I mean, like you're super focused on your goal right now and getting into the NBA? Does that mean everything else outside of basketball is on hold? I mean, you're just 20 years old.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, I'm very focused, and when I talk about my family, everybody knows what I'm about to do and what I'm doing, and everybody's also focused. That really helped me understand my goals more, is because they're just there behind me to protect and to support me. So that gives me more confidence just to keep on working, keep on improving, keep on developing, and keep on having my focus.
How do you make sure that you don't get burnt out in the process?
I always reflect on myself. I mean, I would say every time before I sleep, I would reflect on what I did on today's day. I'm very, I wouldn't say I'm very religious, but I believe in God, and I always pray before I sleep, and try to thank Him for all the blessings He gave me today, and to wish that tomorrow would be a better day. And I just, I mean, for me, just to have that focus 24/7 isn't really hard, because I know that I'm around the right people, and I know that my path is correct.
Just the last few questions, Kai, before we say goodbye to you and your Tita Patty, Tito Joel, and Tito Jeremiah. I guess you're calling them Titos also. But Kai, how important is it for you as an athlete to have corporate backing and the full support of a company like Smart, for instance?
It's very important. I believe in this path I chose. I always say I couldn't do this all by myself. I think the circle around me has been huge and has been amazing. And when people watch me play, they just see me, but they don't really see the people that help me on the I would say on the stage on the back. What do you call that?
Support
Backstage.
Dugout?
They don't really see
Okay.
the people on the backstage that's been
Uh-huh.
helping me. So I'm very, very blessed and very happy, very thankful to have these people around me, and they've been helping me since day one, and they're the reason why I'm here where I am today.
Well, Kai, these last questions that I have for you are coming from our household here. And I'm being pestered by my children, my grandchildren to ask you these questions, not basketball related. Number one, what music do you listen to before you get on the court and get yourself pumped up? If you could ask that question, answer that question. And number two, what lucky shoes do you wear before you get on the court? So music and lucky shoes. Kai, the floor is yours.
When it comes to music, I'm a big music guy, so I listen to different genres. I love R&B. I mean, I love OPM, pop music. But when you talk about pre-game, it's always hip hop and Filipino hip hop, and those are the music. And very
Favorite
appreciative.
rapper? Favorite Filipino musician?
Favorite Filipino musician? There's a lot. When it comes to hip hop, probably Looney, Flo G, Skastakli, those guys. Those are my favorites. And when it comes to shoes, I don't really have lucky shoes. I don't really believe in those type of stuff. I mean, whatever I feel like that's comfortable, that's what I'm gonna wear, because I don't really have special shoes.
Okay, got it. Thank you so much.
Can I insert a question from my household? Okay, I mean, just for the future reference, what do you like in a girl?
Oh, you asked me that question before.
Again, let's asking it. Maybe it changed and evolved through time.
Oh, it's still the same. It's still the same. When the girl's respectful and when my girl respects my family and vice versa, that's what I like in the girl.
Just putting it out there. Yeah, just for the time when you have time already.
Yeah.
Kai, any message for your fans, for everybody who supports you, including Smart, for all the people who are part of your team?
Oh, I just wanna thank everybody first and foremost. I'm very thankful and very blessed to have everybody's support and help, and couldn't do this without every single one of you. And just keep on praying and keep on supporting, because I do my best to work hard every single day to improve and to get to my dream. And I'm doing this all not for myself, but for all of us.
I think it's amazing, Kinito. I mean, today we got a clearer picture of how this journey is turning out for Kai. It's not just a solo effort. We see Patty, we see Joel, we see Jeremiah. He's got a strong team behind him, all believing in him, and it's amazing how much support he has from his inner circle. But rest assured, Kai, you got all of us with you. We're part of that team. In Tagalog, kasama mo kaming lahat, sambayan ng Pilipino sa iyong mga pangarap. Kaya naman, keep on going for that dream, and keep on inspiring all of us.
Well, there you have it, sports fans. A two-part episode on Kai Sotto, his management team from East West Private. That would be Patty Scott, his conditioning coach, his trainer, his skills development coach, Jeremiah Boswell, and his NBA agent, Joel Bell. You heard it from them. You heard about his journey, that he's nervous and excited. Kai Sotto has until June 13 to decide whether he stays in the draft or not. And we wish him the very best. We're all praying
Yes.
and hoping that whatever his decision will be the best for him and the best for all Filipinos who are hoping for his success. And we want to be able to thank Diane, Smart Sports, for giving us this
Yes. Thank
opportunity
you.
to air the entire episode, the entire interview. We're the only platform that was given this opportunity by Smart Sports. So we want to thank Jude Turquato. We also want to thank the participation of Gretchen Ho for making all of this possible.
Thank you, Jude, Gretchen, and Smart Sports. And thank you for watching Play It Right TV. We hope that you'll join us in our next episode. But before we go, we want to ask you to please support our sister company who makes this show possible, our sponsor, playitright.com. They offer products at really good prices, have quality stuff for different sports, for both the competitive athlete and the leisure athlete, or even the fitness buff. So I promise you, you'll find something that you'll like on playitright.com.
And don't forget to like and subscribe, share, and send in whatever comments you want. Play It Right TV and hit that bell button so you get updated on all of our latest episodes every time we have more prizes to give away. And that's it for us. Play It Right TV. This is Kirito Henson, thanking you all very, very much.
And I'm Diane Castillejo. We hope to see you in our next episode. We have prizes to give away. So come back here to Play It Right TV. Bye.